Right, not the best day at the office for Celtic today. Drop points in the league at Celtic Park for the first time this season. I feel like I always do a weather report at this stage. It's like cold in it, overcast. Fair play for cheering us all up with whatever this is, Steve.
Whatever what is. What have I done?
He does his bit, everyone. He gives you a laugh on a tough day.
Thanks, I'm not even trying to. I turned up and said alright to Hamish and he burst out laughing because I'm wearing a hat.
Oh dear, listen, I can't talk of it.
I know my haircut's alright, but I wore it, because the sun's always in my eyes and all that at the games, and then decided why take it off.
My fashion Sakala sense is horrendous, so I really can't comment.
Please delete that.
Well, it's I either made the final video or it didn't. Can you tell we're kind of padding a wee bit here? We don't really want to chat about that game.
What game?
Well, we just politics. Want to go down
Seagulls up there, know what I mean? And a good wee formation.
Politics. Fancy a 20 minutes in politics? Think we could, stop the channel getting cancelled by chatting about politics?
I don't think we could go to the depth, can we? Let's just talk about the football, I suppose.
Right, it wasn't great the day, was it? It really wasn't.
No, it wasn't. I think you could tell for the first 10-15 minutes it was going to be one of the games. I just felt all throughout that match. Do you know what I was saying? Summed it up a wee bit. A lot of that game I actually was spending messaging a couple of my mates just about how...
message me?
No, I don't message you. I said mates. So a couple of my pals going, this is absolute garbage. It felt like an early Angira game. It felt like the Dundee United game in September when we drew one each when they scored right after.
You took that one really well that day, didn't you?
That's actually not like me.
For me, simply, we're not going to go overboard here. It's one game. Celtic have been amazing this season. Today doesn't change any of that. Played like a team that thought they'd won the league today, which I think, if anything, it is very windy today, by the way. I think, if anything, it's surprising because... Let's move up there a wee bit. We'll continue this video. Right, back to football because people have probably turned off. Right, you were saying like you felt from the start of the game. First half we were alright, no?
Nah, I just don't think we gave Liam Kelly enough to do. I really didn't think we created enough, and we're very passive in the middle of the park. The only player that was taking responsibility was Callum McGregor. Thought he was the only player that I would say got pass marks in that first half, and usually after a Celtic game, Hamish, I'm always coming up saying 3 or 4 players caught the attention and really stepped up for us, and I'm always raving about them. Today I can solely say it was just Callum McGregor, the only one in the first half looking to do something.
Awata was alright.
Awata as well, to be fair, was decent.
See, we're up to 2 now.
That's it. No, that is it. Just McGregor was a standout, but Awata did play well as well. But other than that,
because McGregor obviously scores the goal. I don't know if it's been given to him or if it's an own goal. It certainly comes off the Motherwell player. But even prior to that, maybe a couple of minutes before, he was the one who kind of burst from midfield. Remember, he had that run where he kind of shook off a few players, won a challenge. Can't remember what came from that. Nothing. But I really did. I did feel even like just in the first half, he was the one who, like, I felt today we were doing things like slowly. Like, see when we have the ball in the middle of the park and you can zip one out wide left rather than zipping it out, in one pass. We were feeding it in and then going out. It was just a pass too many. McGregor was the only one I felt in that first half that was doing things quickly. Awata, to be fair, bring him up again, had a couple of nice passes forward. I thought that was one thing today. He was looking forward. He isn't a side-to-side player. He will try kind of similar passes to Hatate, which you certainly need when Hatate isn't there. But I'll slightly disagree with you. I thought first half was all right. What are you saying it was out of 10? Because I'll add 2 to it, whatever you say.
I would think it was a 6 out of 10 performance, to be honest with you.
I'm surprised you've done that. That's good.
It's okay. It was. We went 1-0 up, which is fine, and getting 1-0 at half time when we're not playing that well. I thought fair enough, it's a 6. I've seen us play far better than that. Yeah. But one of the things I did note was, and Awata was, as you say, played well. A lot of times with Rio Hatate, right, we saw this games this season when he takes a lot of risks. He plays passes forward 9 times out of 10. They don't come off, but he'll keep trying them. But we needed that today. You really miss Hatate, and you really miss a player taking risks in these type of games. And
you miss Jota as well, don't you?
Jota as well was a huge miss, yeah. But even I was saying too, like even if Abada's fit in that type of game, I think certainly when we talk about who played at right wing, Abada would have made such a bigger impact than Haksabanovic, I think.
Didn't think he was great today.
Haksabanovic, no, was poor, and I think I don't want to be overly harsh as well, because there's still time for him. We're saying all this now, right? Haksabanovic, and I don't think we're alone. There's a lot of Celtic fans that we know probably slating him or saying that he was quite poor today and he was justifiably subbed. We're laying into him today, but next week at Hampden, scores a winner or something, scores a goal, and all of a sudden tables are turned again. But I really didn't think he played well today. Nothing came off for him as well, but he just didn't do enough.
The one thing I would say in his defence, it wasn't as if he was hiding. He did have chances to get the ball. He had the ball a fair bit in that first half, but I think you're right. And notably, he started on the right and switched wings with Maida about 20 minutes in, and then they switched back again. And then they switched back again. And this is all in the first half. You don't often see that. So I think clearly those wings weren't working. Maida, I thought second half had a few where he got to the byline, but obviously nothing came from it. I thought Haxa was... I'm not going to say he was great or even good by any means, but I don't think he was the worst player out there today. I just didn't think stuff came off for him. I've said what I think about Haxa in the past, that my worry is he turns into an impact only player, and I really don't want it to happen because he's better than that. But that's a couple of games in a row now. He's not been great. The other thing I would say is he started both those games and played predominantly on the right. I think it's fairer if you do see him mainly on the left, but I take your point. Half time, we weren't great in the first half. We're still winning. Yeah,
half time. You look at Motherwell's record at Celtic Park as well. It's been atrocious. I don't think they've got a win since 2015, the Lewis Moat game.
Yeah.
I think every other game they've been poor, but they've always been comprehensively battered from us. But they were well in the game at 1-0. And what I would say in their defence is, you saw that was a Motherwell team with nothing to lose at all. Uh-huh. They're safe for relegation. I don't think they're going to make top six, but at the same time,
they haven't.
At the same time, they played without fear. In the first 2 minutes, they had a wee bit of a go, but I didn't think that was a terrible Motherwell side today. I still thought they were comfortable in that first half and everything, though. But I still had a horrible wee feeling at the back of my mind that they were going to get a chance, and obviously early into the second half they did.
Yeah, I kind of had the feeling that when Van Veen went in on Taylor, that
it was a goal.
It had goal written all over it. Taylor just never really got set. He didn't have a clue where he was.
Didn't look convincing, didn't it?
And Van Veen was in media after the game. Actually, sorry, I should say that's why we were a bit late. I was in post match, and Van Veen was the Motherwell player, and so complimentary of Celtic, saying we're the best team in the country by a mile. Said that he was hoping for the moment when he got Carter Vickers or Taylor 1-on-1. Not Carter Vickers, Starfelt or Taylor 1-on-1, and he said slightly less with Carter Vickers because he says he's the best defender in the country by a mile. So I thought that was interesting that you hear it from a opposition forward that they almost kind of take Carter Vickers out of it and pull on to the other side, and it is Taylor, and he takes it really well. The minute he gets past Taylor, you just know he's going to finish it. But I think he's got like 20 goals this season. He's probably one of the better strikers in the league. He's
been key to their sort of climb up the league, hasn't he? Their escape for that relegation zone. He has been, and I did say, I think before the game as well, was saying to John that if he gets a chance, he will probably take it. And I just felt in that second half, Motherwell were going to get something. I think they did something in the first 30 seconds or something that Joe Hart, our defence, cleared, went out for a corner or a throw. But other than that, that's the thing. Motherwell, other than the goal, did nothing too, but that's like a win for them, isn't it, at the same time?
That's exactly what Van Veen said. He said it feels like a win, which I thought was good. He actually came across quite well. Should say just quickly, Ange spoke for 3 minutes.
I was about to say, you were in press release and all that. What did Ange say?
Basically nothing. Everything you would probably expect him to say. He didn't sugarcoat it. He said, we just weren't at it. He was asked, what can you put that down to, and he kind of didn't really have too much to say. He really doesn't take not winning well, Ange, which is obviously a huge positive. You don't want a manager that's happy not to win, certainly at a club of our size. But he just, you just have to look at him, after games sometimes to see the Celtic result. But he spoke for 3 minutes, nothing major to report. We didn't get a player either, certainly in the time I was there. And it's the time we're at now. 6:15 almost, so it's time's gone on a bit. So we will bring you the Ange stuff on Monday if there's even any value in it. There wasn't a great deal, as I say. Just closing stages of the game, didn't have any feeling we were going to score a winner today, and that says something when you see how many we have scored.
I think it's a momentum thing, isn't it? Like, we are that far ahead now, and it almost had an end of season feel to it. I think the crowd get up for it. The more Motherwell going down, sort of wasting time and all that as well. You know that was going to happen.
Liam Kelly.
And I think the big chance was all out. To be fair, from my view, I thought it was an absolute sitter, and he's got to be scoring.
Some ball for Vata.
It was a great ball in. But when I've checked on the channels and all that, we talk about with Celtic on, a couple of people were saying he was really stretching and it was behind him. I'd have to see it again, but
did look
it
a big
looked
chance.
Like a great chance, Hamish. It really did.
He barely touched the ball apart from that, and I thought Motherwell marshalled Kyogo really well today. I mean, I'm not going to talk up Motherwell too much. They really frustrated me in the second half with the time wasting and the amount. I mean, they probably had 7 or 8 different instances in that second half alone of players going down with injuries. But they were well organised and they did make it difficult for us. Big old chance. I've got that written down. Even closing stages, we didn't really create apart from that. A big chance, did we?
We didn't really.
Had a header right at the end. I don't know who that was.
I think it was Starfelt right over the bar. I'm sure. We didn't
better.
give Kelly enough to do. Starfelt had a header saved that was right at Kelly as well. But you'd expect it. I think what I'm saying is you had a real end of season feel. Compare that to the game against Dundee United last season when we were second in the league, but we were pushing for the goal down to 10 men, and about 80 minutes or so into that game, a lot of the crowd were leaving as well. Whereas that game against Dundee United, the majority of the crowd stayed. We were roaring them on, and we got the goal in the end.
I don't think we have a result like that 2 weeks ago when we're playing like Hibs, for example. Remember here, and we're still obviously the derby. It felt, as I said at the start, it felt to me like a team who kind of know the business is done, and obviously Ange is going to hammer into them that it isn't done yet. I think we now need 6 points, maximum of 6 points to win the league, so there's no crisis here. Celtic are still going to win the league, and listen, if we beat Rangers next Sunday, you'll have a good job remembering that 90 minutes that we've just witnessed. What I would say about next Sunday is that if we play like that today, we won't be in the Scottish Cup final.
No, I think we know that, and I think more importantly, Ange will know that as well. And I think maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a wake-up call getting into that type of game as well.
Say the same starting 11 starts next Sunday. This is maybe a completely daft question to ask. Do they have a huge performance in them, or are we so reliant on players like Jota and Hatate and even Abada against Rangers?
I don't know if we're reliant on them as such. We've got those big results without CCV and Jota before. The only thing I would say is they're the reason why we spent the big bucks to have them in our team, and you need them for the big games, Hamish. So I think to be confident getting into that semi-final, it's a one-off game, as we know. We know what type of team Rangers are in these knockout ties as well. But no, you want your best players available for that one, and right now, the way I'm thinking on it, if we go into that game with Haksabanovic out on the right there, no Jota or Abada, I'm not getting into the game writing it off, but I'd be a lot less confident what I was like before the game started.
Really hoping both, especially Hatate and Jota. What I would do to see them in the starting lineup on Sunday.
Do you throw him in?
Hatate's not played in about 5 weeks or something.
Look at that thing with Moy, he hadn't played for so long, he get thrown
slightly
in.
Different.
I know Hatate's far more athletic and dynamic, I understand, but it's still, they'll target him and all that as well if he's just back for injury, and I just hope he's not rushed in. But like we're saying as well, I just said with Jota and Abada, if Hatate is a tier 1 player for us, so if he is fit, he's got to feature at some point.
Right, well, we touch on that politics then. Now we've got the football out of the way.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Now that's the end of our winning streak.
Oh, so it is.
Motherwell did the same to us in 2004 when we were.
Are you talking about the home winning streak?
Because
2 things went today. So our 100% home record
that's away.
Went today, which was 16 out of 16 going into today, and we obviously didn't win. But also our 17-game winning run.
Well, we had a winning run in 2004, and Motherwell ruined that. We had one each draw as well.
Okay.
And Larson scored an equaliser. Yes.
I think I was 13 or 14. I was looking at that the other day. A wee bit disappointing, but listen, it's one game, and it is what it is. So hopefully, what are you doing for the rest of the weekend, so we can avoid the places you're frequenting?
Going to go for a humble Guinness later on, and I will take my hat off. Don't worry.
You've been getting quite into the Guinness lately, haven't you?
I have actually. What a wonderful beverage that is. Doesn't give me a hangover.
Yeah, drink responsibly, of course, if you're having one this weekend. Right, we're going to head then. Thanks for watching once again. We're back on Monday. Speak to you then.